Well, gee, the summer series has begun early, and how good to have our best mate Nigel of Nigel's Animal Rescue back on deck every week with us.
G'day, Phil. G'day, John. Great to be back.
Good to see you, Nigel. By the way, that was a crow, but not the Graham Kennedy type crow. Swooping now is it swooping season already?
Yes, it is. It's coming a bit early this year.
Right now, and if you ride a bike, they reckon the best thing you can do is, you know, those cable ties.
Yes.
You actually ride around and put those through your helmet, because I don't know why they're afraid of them, but they are.
Well, to a degree, yes and no. I was watching somebody this afternoon on a bike being bombarded by a magpie. There's lots that can be said about magpies, and I don't have enough time tonight to go through it all. But
we'll make time. By the way, before you get started, if you have a question you'd like to ask Nigel pertaining to animal welfare, our number is 96900 693, and Simon will keep some lines free for you.
Did you know, boys, that very few magpies actually swoop? Probably less than 2%.
And which magpie is it? Is it mum or dad?
Oh, it's normally the father, the dad. He's got the white back. The white back magpie is the male, and the grey back magpie is the female.
Not a lot of people know that.
They don't.
No, well, they do now. I never knew that. So the white's the male.
That's right.
And the black's the female. Yeah.
No, the grey is the female.
Okay, right.
So it's very easy to tell the difference between the two.
I think you're more likely to be swooped by a plover bird than a magpie.
Yes, but the plover birds actually don't physically make contact with you. They come very, very close to you.
And don't they nest on the ground? Aren't there chicks on the ground?
They certainly do. I did a job earlier on today at a school where the kids couldn't get out onto the school oval because of the plovers out there.
Well, a golf course I used to belong to, they said beware of swooping plovers, but really they're just telling us fibs, because they don't come anywhere near you.
Oh, they're scary,
no. The plovers actually come within about 12 inches of your face.
They're scary.
And they divert off.
That could be very scary.
When you play golf, you've got to watch out for the tigers down there.
Well, that's right. You're quite right. We've seen some big ones too. But so in other words, so they can affect your backswing then.
They can.
But they've never been known to attack. Is that true?
The plovers. No. The plovers are very, very good parents in protecting their young on the ground. They will swoop cats, dogs, people, horses, all sorts.
Why do they bear their young on the ground? Why not in a nest?
Well, they don't build nests. They're not a bird that can land in a tree because they're the way that they're designed. They like to nest on flat roofs, but we're getting off the subject of magpies here.
Yeah, sorry. We'll do plovers next week.
Yeah, we can do plovers next week.
Some people say you paint eyes on the back of your cap.
Yes and no. I've tried all sorts of things, as I've dealt very heavily with magpies over the last 30 years now, dealing with that human-animal conflict that we have.
Yes.
Now, it's not normal behaviour for a magpie to swoop humans or other animals.
Oh, really?
A lot of people don't know that. Well, if it was, nobody could walk the streets of Australia at this time of the year, could they?
Yeah, sure.
Well, what drives a magpie to swoop you?
Well, there you go. It's human interference with the birds in the breeding season. Now, that can be something as simple as trying to rescue a baby magpie on the ground. We get a lot of calls for magpies on the ground, people thinking that they're out of the nest too early. Did you know they can spend up to 5 days on the ground learning how to fly?
Wow.
So unless the magpie's got a broken wing or a broken leg, we should be leaving them alone.
Not a lot of people know that.
No, that's right. That's what we're trying to educate here tonight.
I'm trying to Peter Cook and Dudley Moore there, just in case you're wondering,
So there's right ways and wrong ways of rescuing baby magpies, but that's what I've learnt over the years.
I thought you were doing the two Ronnies.
No. So what happens if where do you find like magpies that are grounded, basically? People phone them in, do they?
Yeah, they do. In probably about 3 or 4 weeks' time, we'll start getting a lot of calls for the babies on the ground, where, as I say, most of the time you leave them alone.
So they fall out of the nest physically, do they?
Well, they jump out of the nest. They haven't got the strength in the wings, and they end up on the ground, and most of them
Mum
survive.
And Dad, don't they just pick them up in their beak and
well, they're a little bit big to pick them up and put them back into the nest. So Mum and Dad will actually look after them on the ground, and that's when they get into situations where public are around.
Give Nigel a call, Harry's fallen out of the nest.
No, I have put a few magpies back into nests, and that is a very dangerous thing to do.
Really?
Because while I'm up the tree, the magpies are actually swooping you and hitting you, and I've been hit in the head many, many times.
So do you wear protective gear?
I always wear my Cobra hat whenever I'm dealing with magpies, and that protects my head now. And
goggles, maybe?
Oh, just sunglasses. But if you're walking through a park somewhere and you know that there's a magpie around that has been swooping people, you can carry an umbrella umbrella, put a hat on, put glasses on. But I've developed a technique that I've used thousands or hundreds of times over the years, that if you are being swooped and a magpie has hit you in the head, the best thing to do is to turn around, look at the bird and point at the bird. And have your arm outstretched away from your body and at all times looking at the bird.
A bit hard if you're on a bike.
Yes, it is a bit hard,
that's
but
true,
if you're a
you'd have to
pedestrian...
turn around on the seat. And the other thing too, I mean, you'd be in a state of panic when you think about it. I mean, that's the last thing you're going to do. Oh, Nigel said, turn around, point at the bird.
But aren't you supposed to do the same with a shark if the shark's approaching you?
I've never dealt with a shark like that before.
Stand still and stare him, and then try and poke his eye out.
Yeah, something like that I've heard. But if you use my technique, the bird will swoop you but won't make that physical contact. Okay, that will stop the contact, but as soon as you drop your arm and look away, he'll come and get you in the back of the head every time.
But you've got to have the courage to physically do that. And I thought, if I got the courage to turn around, face your foe and point at him...
Well, it's a lot better than trying to walk away from him and getting whacked in the back of the head.
Now, Julianne has a call, maybe about magpies. Hi, Julianne.
Oh, hello, yes. I'm from a group called Protectors of Public Lands, Victoria, and I know Nigel because he was wonderful in Katana Gardens. Do you remember Nigel?
Right, yes. Possums, yes.
And but I just wanted to say that I go, of course, Royal Park is one of our parks, and the magpies know you. If you walk there often, the magpies know me. I never have trouble from magpies swooping.
Yeah.
Because apparently, I'm not sure whether you can confirm it, but if it's your park and you go there all the time and they see you all the time, they don't ever swoop you. They know it's, you're familiar.
Yeah, your territory sort of thing.
I will say magpies, when they do swoop, they'll actually target individual people out of a crowd, where they'll leave 95% of the people alone and they'll just select a few people and have a go at those particular people. Now, what I've discovered over the years, let's say a kid's in a park wearing a red jumper and he's gone and rescued a baby magpie and the adults have come down and started attacking him. Now, that magpie will then only pick on people that are wearing red
jumpers.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's a learning thing.
Yeah.
It is a learning thing, and it's always human intervention that causes the birds to start swooping in the first place.
So, Julianne, do you wear the same outfit every time you walk through this park? So
No,
the magpies
just different in Royal Park.
So they're able to discern.
Yeah, they're wandering around,
So
just feet away. No.
Well, say they'd be sort of recognising your face more than what you're wearing, yeah?
Oh, I don't know. Well, probably, or smell or what have you. But this happens with all my friends who go there. They've never been attacked by magpies. And a friend sent me they're very clever magpies, but they've also got a sense of humour. I've got a lovely video of a puppy playing with a magpie and them rolling around on the grass.
I think I've seen that one on YouTube.
YouTube?
Yes, I have seen that one. Yes, it is. But I think it's actually wrong because that magpie has been brought up as a youngster.
Oh, has he?
And it's been humanised.
He probably thinks he's a dog.
And he thinks he's a dog. And they play together because that's not normal behaviour with wild animals.
I wouldn't think so.
Well, he hasn't been humanised. He's been canonised.
Oh, he's canonised. Anyway, Nigel, you're very valued.
Thank you.
In the animal community.
Well, I try and do my
animal
best.
welfare community.
Yes.
And just as well, we haven't needed to call you again.
Well, if you ever need any help, you've got the number there, and we'll be giving it out at the end.
All right. Thanks, Julianne.
Thank you.
More calls for Nigel after the break. It's Nightline. It's 27 to 11.
A couple more calls for you, maybe pertaining to magpies. Anne at Oak Park.
G'day, Anne.
Oh, hello, Nigel. I have a sparrow question.
Sparrow, okay.
It's not exactly rescue, but I'm bewildered because I feed about 15 sparrows every day, just a few fresh breadcrumbs. And about 6 weeks ago, they all disappeared.
Oh.
And I'm wondering what the dickens is going on.
Ooh,
There's no
what suburb?
cats in the area. Oak Park.
Oak Park. You've probably got a couple of sparrow hawks out there, or a couple of hawks have been knocking them off, maybe.
Oh, dear. It happened about a year ago, the same sort of thing, but they came back.
All right. Well, I've noticed a decline in sparrows over the sort of the last 10 to 15 years, that there's less and less sparrows around.
Is that because of the minor birds?
Well, probably not the miners. It might be something to do with pest controllers out there spraying chemicals around, killing all of the insects, taking away the food source for them. A lot of birds rely upon all of our insects and things that we kill.
Yeah.
So the sparrows have come back, have they, Anne? Or?
No, not as yet. And there's also another thing that disturbs me. It's a sign at Flinders Street Station. Now, there's street birds that go in there. They're searching for food because they're desperate, and there's a sign up, do not feed the birds. What's the harm in a few little breadcrumbs for the sparrows?
I've always said never feed wildlife processed food, bread. Bread's a very, very unhealthy food for our wildlife. Sparrows really eating tiny little insects and things. So
what about possums? I know a guy who actually feeds possums.
Is he breaking the law doing that? Hand feeding them with an apple?
The odd apple here and there is not too bad.
But that discourages their foraging skills.
Yeah, but something happened to that guy. Well, suddenly the possum will have to fend for itself all of a sudden. And would it be capable of doing it?
Plenty of food around at this time of the year coming out, in springtime.
Would you be allowed to build a little tree house for a possum?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I've put up over 5,000 boxes for possums.
Would it actually move in time?
Yes,
that's if he could fit into the tree house, Phil. I mean, I understand this possum's a little bit overweight, and he probably wouldn't be able to outrun a fox.
I think she might be pregnant again.
Oh,
actually.
really?
Right.
Well, she gets.
Oh, this is the time of the year that the young are coming out.
Gets at least 2 apples a night.
Thanks for your call, Anne.
Thanks, Anne.
Des of Hurstbridge is on the line for you, Nigel.
Hi, Des.
Nigel, how are you going?
Good.
What's the story about the wild cockies?
The wild cockies.
What can we do about them?
What we can do about them? What's the problem they're causing?
I've got an oak tree. It's about 38 years old.
An oak tree, yeah.
Strip it.
Right, yeah. Well, you will get birds that will, and other animals that will pick on particular trees to feed off. There's not much that we can really do with wild cockies in the suburbs.
They're very destructive, aren't they? I mean, farmers...
They can be. We do get jobs where they get onto a house with red cedar and they start ripping away at the red cedar or the fascia of a building, shopping centres and things. There are things that we can use to deter them, but for attacking a particular tree is very difficult. You can hang up hawks and CDs and things around in the trees. It's a matter of trial and effort to see what's going to work. What works for one bird doesn't always work for another.
Yeah, true enough. And now we'll just move away from birds as we say goodnight to you. Thanks for staying back for a second segment.
Thank you.
Snakes, are they on the prowl again?
Yes, I've had a couple of calls for snakes. They're already starting to come out now that we're getting warmer days. So,
and also, as Neil Mitchell explained, and Tom in the afternoon, because the suburbs are spreading out into the country now.
Absolutely.
You know, we are invading the snake's habitat, aren't we?
Well, we're invading all animals' habitat all the time. But no, they're certainly out and about. So, when you're out there in your gardens and cleaning up rubbish, just make sure you've got long pants and strong boots on.
And the most venomous snakes, Nigel, just very quickly, are?
Oh, in Melbourne, we've got the copperhead, the tiger, and the brown snake.
But in any case, we should all treat all snakes as venomous.
Well, I do.
Just stay clear of them, yeah?
I do, absolutely.
Can I bring up something controversial for next week? And I want you to have an opinion about it next week.
Okay.
When there's a shark attack, and pity help us, I mean, how horrific, and our sympathy goes to anyone who's a victim or knows a loved one who loses a limb or a life. But I feel sorry for the sharks because we are invading their natural habitat.
Absolutely.
And suddenly we go hunting for them.
No, I don't think it's right to go out and kill a great white because it's taken a human.
I want to just tease that for next week, all right?
Terrific.
And if you're going surfing, please be careful and come back to us.
Thank you, Phil.
Nigel of Nigel's Animal Rescue. Give us your phone number, Nigel.
0427 533 083.
I'm a little bit thick. Could I have it again, but slower? but with a bit of warmth.
0427 533 083.
Good night, buddy.
All the best.